Welcome once again to the Talking Archive. I'm Josh Jacobs, and our conversation concludes now with Jim Narz and his cousin David Narz. Well, I remember you talked about growing up in the San Fernando Valley, and you mentioned some places. Any particular places that you just gravitated towards week after week that was a must go to when school was out?
I remember, and I don't know if you remember ever coming to our house, but there was a place where Burbank, I think it's Burbank Boulevard, that met Ventura, and there was a place there that had trampolines, miniature golf, an arcade, whatever you can call an arcade back then. And back then it was safer, but the four of us kids, and if anybody was spending it, it was probably a mile walk. But yeah, here's a quarter, go trampoline for an hour, get some energy out, and they'd give us, and we'd walk down there and we'd bounce on the trampoline for an hour, play some miniature golf, and you spend 4 or 5 hours. I can't even name the place, but
just an
and then you come home and then jump in the pool.
Yeah.
Wow.
When we were real young, and my dad talked about this before, Johnny Carson and his kids would come over to our house and swim too. Johnny Carson then moved to New York, and when we moved to New York, my dad called Johnny and said, where should we move? And he says, this place called Mamaroneck, so we ended up there. So we'd see Johnny Carson when we lived out there. In fact, we had a really neat train set in our basement. When we moved back to California, he gave it to Johnny's kids because we couldn't move that back to California. We didn't have room for it. So there was that relationship. And again, I think, as you probably know, on Dotto, I think, was it Dotto? Or no, Video Village. That was Johnny's second wife.
That's right, Joanne Copeland.
So he must have introduced her to her, but it was like 6 years later that they got married or something, or 5 or something.
Well, let's see. Yeah, they got married, I think, in 1963 or 64, and then they divorced in 1972.
Yeah.
On the Dean Martin Celebrity Roast, Johnny was the man of the hour, and so Bob Newhart said, I think it's interesting about Johnny and the ladies he's been married to. His first wife's name was Joan. His second wife was Joanne. His current wife is Joanna.
Yeah, right. And then the last one was crazy.
Alex.
Alex, right.
Wow.
And there was, there was a book that came out. I can't remember, The King of Late Night or something like that. And there was a paragraph in there that didn't make Johnny look very well because they talked about how apparently my dad were having a party at the house or something like that, and one of the musicians wasn't feeling good, so my dad and mom say, just lay down in our bed in the bedroom and stuff like that. And Johnny's wife was there. Johnny was working still, and she wasn't feeling good too. And she also laid in the same bed. Now they're on top of the guys. Nothing was going on.
No,
I don't know. But Johnny got there and like backhand his wife across the face, and in the book it says it was so loud that it woke up the Narz children. I mean, I don't remember being woken up, but apparently there was a little streak of maybe, and that might have been his first wife because that was before we moved to New York. But I'm sure that didn't help the relationship. But I mean, my dad and him were friends up until I think and again there was one of the public television to talk about the same thing with Johnny Carson. When he got the Tonight Show, he was very nervous and wasn't sure he should do it and all that kind of stuff. And they asked my dad to take Johnny Carson to Vegas and get him, liquored up and loosened up and tell him this is going to be the best thing for his career. And so he did that.
Wow.
They told my dad to juice him up, and then he started, and it started out slow until Eddie Ames was on the show, and the old axe with the, I didn't know you were Jewish. And from that point on, the Tonight Show took off. But, you're trying to take, what's his name, the Jack Parr.
Jack Parr, yeah.
Take his place. Johnny was very nervous. This could be a deal breaker. It could ruin my career.
Yeah, and because Parr was very popular and left for, because NBC couldn't control him, and basically, Parr pushed.
But he walked off the show or something like that.
Walked off the show, yeah.
Like here's a.
Well, I heard he got suspended for saying the word water closet on the air. It's like
there was a lot of stuff that you had to be careful back then, and that was Jack Parr's show, and that saved him. Kinescope, I guess they called it.
Yeah, the kinescopes.
They would basically put a film projector in front of a TV monitor, and that was for a videotape.
Yeah.
So they would have, they could send that to wherever, and they could play it or something like that.
Because a lot of the classic game shows that still exist to this day exist in kinescope form. And I know Goodson and Todman saved a bunch of them. And it seemed like they were the only production company that did save game shows.
But it got so bulky that I think it was so expensive to refrigerate them, stuff like that, when they said just burn them or trash them.
Or put them in the ocean or something.
And take them out on a barge.
Yeah, I mean, and
now you can get a whole season on a thumb drive. If they would have just known that then, we'd be enjoying watching our parents when they were 35 years old. Eh? They can't see you nodding your head, so you have to say, okay.
Okay. Yeah. So I didn't know this is a lot of details that I wasn't aware of.
Yeah.
Well, it's good to find out things, that
you started with, what do you remember living in Northridge?
Mm-hmm.
Going to White Horse Restaurant. That was the big thing.
Oh, wow.
They had the best Thousand Island dressing on their little salads, and it was where I could get an ice cube and dunk it in Mom's coffee.
Oh,
you mean a sugar cube?
Yeah, what did I say? Ice cube.
You said a
sugar cube.
Oh.
Yeah, you could dunk a sugar cube in Mom's coffee, and that was like...
That was dessert.
I remember that, and then riding my bike on tract houses where it would just go flat and then uphill and flat and uphill, and walking around in houses and picking up slugs.
Thinking they were nickel, and you could put it in a nickel machine
Absolutely.
or something like that. Yeah.
It's the same size. It'll work. I'm going to do it.
That's right.
Absolutely. That's what I remember about
Did you ever
Northridge.
remember, we used to, and I think it was you guys, there was a Bob's Big Boy.
Oh.
And once in a while, I'll go to Bob's Big Boy.
Well,
and
that's
your
in North
sister,
Hollywood, though.
Your sister and my
you're
sister
in Tulip
would
Lake.
take their French fries and dip it in their shakes,
Yeah.
which was like ice
chocolate
cream.
shakes.
Yeah.
And they
Oh,
dip
yeah.
them and then eat it and go, oh my gosh. But the same thing. They
So
had
they're
the
the
Big Boy
ones who
combo.
invented that.
It was like 99 cents. You get a hamburger, a salad, and French fries for 99 cents. Yeah,
Right.
take the kids to Bob's.
Yeah.
We would do that all the time.
Steaks, shakes, pancakes.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's
They
that
weren't
cool-
you couldn't suck that thing through a straw if you tried.
No.
You'd kill yourself.
Well, that one right there in Burbank is
yeah.
where I worked
Came
and
in
made my own hamburgers.
Like
It
a
was-
silver thing that would have ice on it, and you grab it and you freeze your hand.
So you worked at the one in Burbank?
I did.
How long did you work there for?
For a summer.
Oh, okay.
It was enough just to make some mad money.
25 cents an hour or something. back
Probably.
then. 17 cents, whatever.
All I remember is Larry was the manager.
Mm-hmm.
He had his hair slicked back. He must have used a half a pint of Pennzoil every day, or Brill cream or whatever. His hair was just so slicked back.
Oh, my.
Wow.
That's crazy.
But yeah, I was kind of a soda jerk. Between the car hop and the cook, there was the guy in the middle.
Yeah.
I'd get the fries and put them out here, and then make the shakes and sundaes, and yeah, it was a fun
Nice.
job.
Probably worked for food, I bet.
Basically, that's all I
Yeah.
did.
Now-
I ate myself silly
Were you allowed to eat all the free food you wanted or a discount? Or?
at lunch. Yeah,
Oh, okay. That's
Yeah.
great.
and I would just make triple burgers. Just never put the center in though.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I don't want bread. I want meat.
that's it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You just pretended the center thing was a patty, so you had triple instead of.
Yep.
There you go. That works.
Can we credit you as the inventor of the 3x3 maybe?
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Should have patented that thing for
Yeah.
In-N-Out burgers.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yep.
That's
It's-
great.
That's high school. So
Now, was there
There you go.
was there a jukebox there at the time with different like jukebox buttons on each table?
Not that I
The Big Boy?
recall.
Oh, okay. Because I know that some of them did, but I
I never
don't
bust the
remember.
tables. I was just the
You were
soda
back.
jerk, whatever.
Yeah.
In the carport area.
Oh
Yeah.
wow!
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that.
Did you ever work at Big Boy or any interesting?
I don't. I'm trying to remember if I worked at all. There was a place we used to call them a head shop. So there was a place called the Third Eye on Ventura Boulevard, and I don't know if I would say like that's where they had the black light room. Jimi Hendrix. And
Yeah,
Cream,
you
all
sold
that.
bongs and stuff. What do you
Well,
mean?
yeah, I don't
That's
know
what
if
a
they're-
head shop was.
Yeah, it was mostly roach clips, which were just the alligator clips that you'd use in electronics. And they put some macrame at the end of it and call it a roach clip. But Once in a while, I would say, "Boy, I really want the poster, but I don't have the $2." Oh, you can work it off. You work a couple hours, and they'd roll up a poster and give it to you. That's how I got my poster collection. So that wasn't really money. I don't think my first job was until I moved to Huntington Beach, because again, I was 14 when I moved to Huntington, 13 or 14, and again, it was mostly, bus boys at first or something. And then there was an Italian restaurant. I think the first time I brought somebody a plate of spaghetti and was like slipped right off the plate, and somebody was laughing. They said, "You're not going to be a waiter." So yeah, but not in the Valley. I think I was too young to work out in the Valley.
Yeah.
Although, our parents got free labor out of it. I remember, again, Bob Crosby show. They would have a Christmas show, and we'd have to go on there and sing Christmas carols. And then, and again, I think I shared that with you last time. Alan Copeland Singers. People don't realize that Alan Copeland was married to a gal named Dolores. Dolores was in a 3-piece band with you, and her brother Billy Barty was the drummer, and she played like trombone or something like that, and her sister played something else. But so when we go to Alan Copeland's house for Christmas or Easter or something like that, Billy Barty would always be there and entertaining the kids, which was kind of fun. But was it Seven Keys, I think, when they were giving away a pool or something? We need kids to throw beach balls or something, so they'd bring the Narz family in. And, here's this above-ground Dobie pool or something like that. We're all out there. Yay! Okay, close the curtain. Dave's crying again. I don't think I took my shirt off. It's like, no, you got to be in your bathing suit. Take your shirt off. I'm not going to take my shirt off. So I'm the only one out there with like a polo on. And but it was free labor, get the kids out there.
There you go.
You did a couple of promos, I remember, like Christmas promo.
Yeah, for NBC. That was, I was actually in college at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Linda was too.
But she sang some song in German or Courtney did or something like that. Or
we sang
some Christmas carol in
Edelweiss or something.
Yeah.
And she said goodbye in German. I said it in French. Julie said it in, I don't know what.
Some tongue.
Spanish, probably.
And then you did that thing with my dad, and it was Wink Martindale was the host or something, and they were talking about, did you know that the Game Show Brothers, and then my dad was pretending to be the ump, and you and your dad were playing tennis, and then Wink came up and said, nobody knew that this was, blah, blah, blah. And then they joked about how your dad looked more like Wink than he did my dad, and then that's when they got the T-shirt.
That was on Passport Plus, I think.
You were in it.
I believe you.
Because you
but
said
I don't remember it.
I work with you on the show, and then it was one of the shows you worked with your dad.
I think I remember that special that Wink hosted in the fall of 1987.
It was something to do with TV trivia or something.
And they showed a bunch of different game show best of moments. Like remember the Hollywood Squares they had. I heard of Charlie Weaver before, but I'd never actually heard him.
Oh, yeah.
He was fun.
And I heard the line, how many balls are on a table in the game of billiards? And he said, how many men are playing? I just busted up.
He's good with that.
And I confess I've never been able to play pool the same way since.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's funny.
And then they said, and here's your host for today, Win Martindale. Oh, that's Wink. And then they showed his name on the screen. The K was blinking on and off. It's and that's Wink. He's like, what about this game show from 1964? And now here's the star of of what's this song, Win Martindale.
That's funny. So I remember, what was it? I think it was Paul Lynn or somebody like that. No, remember Waylon and Madam?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So they were on that, and I thought he was funny. So I think I saw him at the Roxy or something like that.
There was a guy with a puppet.
Yeah. And her face looked like a man's, like the chin and
it looked like the wench, one of the wenches in Pirates of the Caribbean for Take a Wench for a Bride.
Right.
Yeah, there you go.
Right.
But in his act, they were talking about how on Hollywood Squares, how Peter Marshall, he says, it sounds like a security guard at a gay bar. It's a Peter Marshall. I thought that was the greatest line for Peter Marshall. Like, oh my gosh, he's a Peter Marshall. Oh.
Well, Pete, did you ever read Peter's book, Backstage with the Original Hollywood Square?
I don't know if I have a book that, was your dad's, that was signed by him with his real name.
Yeah.
And I thought it was interesting that it made it out to Tom. You'd think that if he signed it with his real name, he would put Jim Narz and not Tom Kennedy. Peter LaCroix.
Actually, your dad was there. In fact, that was the first time I met Tom Kennedy, was at the signing for the book. And they also had Tom Poston, Joanne Worley. Tom Poston's wife, Suzanne Plachette.
Right.
Joanne Worley was there. Nanette Fabre, Harvey Korman,
Wow.
Mark Summers, Susan Stafford.
Sure.
And
I'm
so
texting my son. So
Pete in the book said that after a taping of Hollywood Squares, they would always go for a night on the town. And he says, I don't know what we were thinking, but one night we decided to go to this female strip club in the San Fernando Valley. He said this place was so hardcore porn. Pete said, I'd watch soft porn like Candy Bar, which I never even heard of. But I started laughing at the name. And he says, it was so bad, half the stars walked right in and half walked right out. Those who walked right out included Sandy Duncan and then Steve Lawrence and E. Gourmet. But Pete said that me, Paul Lynde, George Gobel, Rose Marie, and Charlie Cal stayed for about 20 minutes.
Nice. They loved it. Yep.
That's insane.
Then when they left, the other stars were still waiting, so they went somewhere else. And Pete found out the next morning that about 20 minutes after they all left, the police raided the place, arresting everybody, both the employees and the customers.
Oh, boy.
And Pete said, I wished we had stayed because I would have loved to have a copy of a newspaper article that said, talked about Paul Lynde being arrested for being a female stripper.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow.
That's funny. That's funny. There was a lot of crazy stuff. And again, I hear stories, again, because, and I think I've told this before, and I think your dad might have shared it with him. Well, maybe he didn't because you didn't listen. But when my dad invited your dad out to California to get into the radio school that he just went to, and said, when your dad got out of the Navy, your dad basically said, hey, you got your GI Bill. This place will take your, it pays for it, and the GI Bill will pay for you to go to radio school and stuff like that. And your dad said, oh, okay. And he came and stayed with my mom and dad for a while he was going to school. And back then, my dad had already been in radio for a while, so he's getting to know the places. And Ventura Boulevard is a place called Don the Beachcomber. Very dim lighting. I think I shared this with you. They take, his brother Jim there to eat. And at Don the Beachcomber is kind of like Hawaiian Polynesian food, so there's a lot of finger food. So they put a warm bowl of water with lemon wedges in it, and they roll up towels. But again, it's very dark, right? And I guess your dad picked up one of the towels and dipped it in there and tried to take a bite out of it. I'm straight from Louisville.
That's awesome.
He thought it was like a tortilla. You dip it in the soup. No, you put the washcloth and you wipe your hands down. So, we're talking the backwoods of Louisville. That was one of the great stories my dad used to tell me. But that's how life was in the valley, and it was a blast. But again, I think there's a lot of truth. The only reason I know what I know is because I've got these boxes of stuff from your dad, from my Uncle Bill, and from my dad. Yeah. And I don't know why, but maybe that's just coming out of the Depression. They hung on to everything. Telegrams, newspaper articles. Again, I know about your dad's place because I've got photos, and the playbill from, Tom Kennedy stars in, The Odd Couple. And there's like some shots they probably took during rehearsals and stuff. He's got a cigar in his mouth or something like that. It's like, and your dad was like that. If he's off work and he had an opportunity to do a live play, I don't think my dad would have done that, but your dad was into that.
Yeah,
I think he really enjoyed it. He really enjoyed it. And like you said, Branson though,
he wanted to branch out and do stuff. But
he did.
Nothing really
and he did.
So.
Again, we talked about it again. He would produce shows and write shows. My dad would like to have done that, but your dad did a couple of the Jokers thing, whatever that we called that again, Joker in the Wild or something like that ended up being a show in Britain or something like that. And the last big show that he tried to do, Star Play, with Carol Burnett, and they did a pilot. I mean, it was full-on pilot, and had 6 celebrities on it or something like that. And then COVID hit, and then, again, I saw a letter from him to Carol Burnett saying it's just, unfortunately, with the way the business is today, having 6 celebrities on a show would just never cut it because the budget was skyrocketing. Yeah, it was just too much money and
too much.
people couldn't afford it or didn't want to. I mean, you look nowadays, like you said, you look where the price is being taped now, and it's like the parking lot floods during the winter. And then I went to see the new Split Second, John Hurley, and it's way out in almost like Lake Passaic almost. It's way out there in these old tilt-ups and stuff. It's like wherever they can get it done the cheapest. No live audiences anymore.
Yeah.
It's cheaper not to have them in there. And
I have a friend who was on the new Split Second, and so I emailed her an episode of the original one with Tom Kennedy.
Not anything like it anymore.
And she enjoyed it. I mean, she said thank you for sharing that, because I told her that in the original one, all contestants kept whatever cash they earned in the main game.
Right.
Now, the current Split Second, they don't even give the losers a consolation prize. So basically, if you don't win, you get nothing, zero, zilch, nada.
Wow.
Which was kind of shocking to me. I'm like, really? Not even rice-a-roni for a year or two?
Right.
Or three?
Right.
Wow.
Yeah, my friend, his mother went on Alex Trebek's very first American game show, The Wizard of Oz. And she won $20 cash, which everybody won.
Yeah.
And then he said, we ate rice-a-roni 2 or 3 times a week for a year. And this was after she gave away half her consolation prize to a friend who she tried out with on the show. And another friend of mine was on Tic-Tac-Dough. He lost. He won 300 boxes of creamettes, macaroni, and cheese, which he cooked 2 boxes each month for the monthly church potluck. And then during Halloween, Halloween, he'd give away the box of macaroni and cheese to the kids.
Oh my God!
Bag.
Instead of candy,
Instead of candy. And then he won.
And
then he also won 80 pairs of legs pantyhose.
Oh my
and he
God.
wasn't even married at the time. He's like, I don't know what I'm going to do with this. Fortunately, got married like a year later, but I'm sure,
Yeah.
I can't remember if he said he did, plop legs pantyhose into the girls who were trick-or-treating's bag, but it was just...
Well, and I
free
correct
pantyhose, there you go.
you can probably correct me if I'm wrong, but I used to hear stories about how people would win so many prizes on a show, but if they didn't win any cash, they couldn't pay the tax. The people didn't realize you had to pay taxes on all that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So if you won a car, and it's a $30,000 car, you could, and if you didn't win any cash, people say, I can't afford to pay the taxes. I can't afford to take the car.
Yeah.
And you don't get it until your show actually shows on the air. So it's like a lot of people, when do I get my prize? Well, your show won't be on until December. Then it gets preempted by saying, now it's going to be our April or something like that. By the time you get a 64 Cadillac, it's 1968.
Yeah, exactly. And that was the thing. I mean, with Wheel of Fortune, especially when they were giving away, where you had to spend the money on prizes.
Right.
The prizes were always
Chuck
jacked
Woolery,
up. It's like, for $750, I'll take that toaster oven. For $1,000, that ceramic Dalmatian. And for, you want to do the candy dish? It's like, yeah, Chuck, I'll do the candy dish for $120. This looked like an ashtray, except it was a candy dish, basically, which I guess he could have used as an ashtray. But it was just the most booby prizes around. And so when Wheel got rid of the and went all cash, originally it was supposed to be just for 1 month, but in the primetime version, Jack Clark is like, as we continue by popular demand, our all-cash giveaway. Yeah. So finally, after a couple months, they said, we're just going to do all-cash giveaway, more games. And you're not having the contestants like, the
big prize at the end.
The big prize at the end. And that's what made it more exciting. Because I think what it was, Lynn Bolin, the head of daytime NBC at the time Wheel came on, wanted a shopping feature for Wheel of Fortune. It was her idea. But she was long gone from Wheel of Fortune, but they just kept it because I guess it was, quote, popular. But it was just... the prizes were jacked up. Tom McKee, Tic-Tac-Doe's all-time money winner, said the way to get around that is to go to a discount retailer and have them sign something that's worth this amount. That way you put on your taxes.
Wholesale or something like that.
And then also Tom McKee, the Tic-Tac-Doe all-time money winner, he won, I think, 8 automobiles. He won $310,000 in cash and prizes.
Gosh.
So he sold most of his prizes. He kept 1 car for himself, gave 1 to his brother, who was a Wycliffe Bible translator, and then he sold the other 6 automobiles back to the dealership. Now, granted, it wasn't as much because it loses value once off a lot, but and then he also sold a bunch of the other prizes as well. And then some of the trips he took, but the others he forfeited. So after that, he said he had about $200,000 to show for it. Same's true with Kit Salisbury. Won $199,000 in cash and prizes, and he had a game show garage sale at the local swap meet. He says, we're talking about stoves, a refrigerator, lamps, clocks, smokers, Polydent, and Doritos and Sunny Delight. So he's even selling the consolation prizes he received.
Well, we were just talking about that on the way here, a split second. You were saying, some of the cars, they wouldn't be able to drive home or something. It was like, you got to store these cars till the next tape. And you said, I'll take one. They drove it around for a while. You drove around in a Grand Am for a while or something like that. It was like,
no, I drove to the prom, to the homecoming.
Oh, the prom. There you go.
It was a special. It was a deal.
Wow.
It was a big deal. But no, I didn't have it for a month or whatever. It was just that one time.
Yeah, you can borrow the car.
Yeah, no, it was not an
have
everyday.
Have it back for the next taping.
Not an everyday driver. But I did have it back. It was still
funny.
in one piece, and it worked. So.
Yeah. I can see on Concentrate. Dad, you want to drive that Chevelle? No, pass. I can't fit in it. I don't know, it went from yellow to red or something. That was the biggest thing on Concentration. Yeah.
It's funny that the Christian rock group Audio Adrenaline has a song called Chevette.
Oh, do they?
And it goes, no AC and no FM and no regrets in my Chevette.
Nice.
That was extra. It would take too much juice out of the battery.
Right.
Couldn't start the car.
In fact, one of the lines was 0 to 60 sometimes.
Yeah. In 30 minutes. Nice.
That's great. That's great. Yeah.
So when we did online a station called Christian Pirate Radio, I said, okay, on the 1970s on Concentration with Jack Narz, they gave away this song. Here's Audio Adrenaline with Chevette. So I would oftentimes tie that in because that was, I think Joker's Wild also gave away Chevettes for a while as well. And my grandpa Dave had one. My dad said to me, Dad hates that car. He thinks it's a total lemon.
Well, it was like, wasn't it the Pinto, if you rear-ended it would blow up, and then the Chevelle, you turn it a key on, and the engine would stop. It's like, how do you stop the car? You got the key, you got it in your pocket, it's still running. How do you turn it off?
Just park it next to a tree.
Oh, just give them away on a game show then. We can't sell them anymore. Just give them to Alex, and he'll give them away.
At the time, Chevy had the slogan, building a better way to see the USA, and they weren't.
No. See the USA in your Chevy. Dinah Shore.
Dinah Shore, yeah.
But yeah, it was fun.
Any other stories you'd like to share?
I really didn't have any agenda or anything.
Cool. And it was great to hear some of your childhood stories and memories growing up. And anytime you want to come back on here at the Talking Archive, you're always welcome.
Thank you.
Well, that's it for the Talking Archive. Our guests have been David Narz, son of legendary game show host Jack Narz, and Jim Narz Jr., the son of, his real name was Jim Narz Sr., but Tom Kennedy. Yep. I'm Josh Jacobs. Until next time. By the way, just to let you know, if you want to contact us if you have a question for me or a question for them that we didn't ask, it's joshdj57@gmail.com. That's joshdj57@gmail.com. Keep your mind on the things above, and as you hit that open road, don't be a slow down spectator.